Hello YouTube, Good Ninja again. Uh, First time that I've done a video like this. Anyway, I have an old Oklahoma newspaper article from somewhere from Tulsa County, or it's a Tulsa newspaper, and this is trying to get in on the history of the Madrid. Anyway, so this will be my first installment of my possible series of videos concerning the Madrid area, as well as other areas of interest that may or may not be affected. I hope you find my videos insightful and informative. Please rate, subscribe, and comment. Let me know what you think as well. Give me a little feedback. Anyway, we're just gonna kinda, let me see, let me find my spot real fast. Alright, most have heard of the so-called Ring of Fire that encompasses the perimeter of the Pacific Ocean. The Earth's crust is broken into tectonic plates that scientists believe were caused by the expansion of the Earth's core, breaking the crust into pieces. These break lines or faults are characterized by frequent and severe earthquakes. Volcanoes dot the perimeter of this plate, hence the name Ring of Fire. The New Madrid Fault is a different kind of fault because it is in the middle of a tectonic plate and extends nearly 10 miles deep into the Earth's crust. Scientists believe that this type of fault was caused by the same expansion of the Earth's core, but for some reason it did not have the strength to completely break the plate. The New Madrid Fault lies roughly along a line between St. Louis and Memphis and produces major earthquakes about every 200 to 600 years. It produces numerous minor earthquakes every year, but many are too small to be noticed. It is believed that the reason this area produces so many earthquakes is due to a glacier that came down from the north and stopped in central Illinois several thousand years ago. The tremendous weight of the glacier pressed on the Earth's crust down hundreds of miles beyond the glacier's edge, similar to pushing your finger into a balloon. After the glacier receded, the Earth's crust slowly began to rebound, causing frequent earthquakes. Take note of this fact. Just because Madrid is flooded right now, don't mean that it's going to have a direct effect and cause an earthquake right now. It's a possibility that we might have the seismic snap, as you would call it, whenever the floodwaters start to recede. But then again, though, this is just a kind of a historical documentation. And I know the glacier was, all in one spot, and with this flood and the water, we kind of have a equal disbursement. Anyway, let me read a little bit more. On December 16, 1811, a major earthquake hit the area of New Madrid, Missouri, and then hit again with nearly the same intensity the following January and February. The vibrations rang church bells as far away as Boston. It was felt as far north as Canada and as far west as Oklahoma, where I'm at. In the New Madrid area, it changed the course of the Mississippi River for a little bit anyway, caused land in some areas to fall 20 feet, and was responsible for the creation of Reelfoot Lake in Kentucky. Many buildings, especially unreinforced masonry structures, were damaged or destroyed within a 250-kilometer radius. Some eyewitnesses said that the land actually rippled like a wave. Imagine that. The earthquake was so severe that it was felt in 27 states, a 2.5 million square kilometer area. By contrast, the 1906 San Francisco earthquake was only felt over about 150,000 square kilometers. The difference is the type of subsoil characters of each area. In San Francisco, the area is mostly solid rock. Here in the Midwest, it is mostly soil and sand. Solid rock confines vibrations, of course, by absorbing the energy waves, but the energy waves flow very easily through loose soil. Oklahoma has its own set of earthquake faults. This is just for those of you who live in Oklahoma, by the way. We have I guess what a lot of seismologists call a rare fault. because of the way it's formed, and it's called the Mears Fault Line. It's spelled M-E-E-R-S. Go look that up. It's actually pretty interesting. Anyway, skip past some of this stuff. However, okay, here we go. The New Madrid fault should be of some concern to us here in Oklahoma. Energy waves from a major earthquake could easily reach us, producing minor damage. Recorded historical effects. Some sections of the Mississippi River appeared to run backward for a short time. Sand blows were common throughout the area and can still be seen from the air in cultivated fields. The shock waves propagated efficiently through Midwestern bedrock, with residents as far away as Pittsburgh and Norfolk awakened by intense shaking. Church bells were reported to ring as far as Boston, Massachusetts, and New York, Ontario, now Toronto, and sidewalks were reported to have been cracked and broken in Washington, D.C. There were also reports of toppled chimneys in Maine. Eliza Bryan from the New Madrid territory of Missouri wrote the following eyewitness account. Keep in mind this was wrote in 1811. On the 16th of December 1811, at about 2 o'clock a.m., we were visited by a violent shock of an earthquake, accompanied by a very awful noise resembling loud but distant thunder, but more hoarse and vibrating, which was followed in a few minutes by the complete saturation of the atmosphere with sulfurous vapor, causing total darkness. Take note of that as well. This is an eyewitness account from the last well-known recorded earthquake that was produced from this fault line. The screams of the frightened inhabitants running to and fro, not knowing where to go or what to do, the cries of the fowls and beasts of every species, the cracking of trees falling, and the roaring of the Mississippi, the current of which was retrograde for a few minutes, owing, as is supposed, to an eruption in its bed. And this formed a truly horrible scene. Now, this is another interesting point, since this is historical documentation that I'm reading on. Let me find it real fast. This is the disaster relief. A request dated January 13, 1812 by William Clark, famous for his exploration of the American West with Meriwether Lewis and the Corps of Discovery from 1803 to 1805. The governor of the Louisiana Territory. The territory was renamed the Missouri Territory soon after the quake to eliminate confusion with the new state of Louisiana. And this guy asked for federal relief for the inhabitants of the New Madrid County. Whereas the catalog of miseries and afflictions with which it has pleased the supreme being of the universe to visit the inhabitants of the earth, there are none more truly awful and destructive than earthquakes. The inhabitants of the late district, now county of New Madrid, in this territory, have lately been visited with several calamities of this kind, which have deluged large portions of their country and involved in the greatest distress many families, whilst others have been entirely ruined. In the opinion of the said General Assembly, provisions ought to be made by law for or cashiered to the said inhabitants relief, either out of the public fund or in some other way as can meet to the cost demand availability of the general government. It's kind of sketchy there, but this is possibly the very first request that the federal government had received for aid from one of the territories. The bottom line is this. I just wanted to make sure that this was put out there, that the earthquake, the last well-known earthquake, happened because there was a massive weight put on the middle of that plate there, and it's whenever that weight started to leave, that pressure and all those pressures and weights started to displace and move around off from that particular area, is whenever it started to come back up and rebound, and that's when we actually had our seismic snap. So that's recorded history. I will bring you more on this. Anybody else that has any ideas, any more theories, anything at all, any feedback, let me know. Also, there's speculation that the X-37B, is, the new space plane, is a possible earthquake weapon and is to be active over the Madrid fault, I believe 10th, 11th, and 12th. But it is 5/11/11, so I'm keeping a very close eye on that today as well. The geology under the New Madrid, I will cover that in the next video. Like I said, this will probably be a series of videos, but I'm gonna tell you right now, foremost right here in my first video, if you are in the Madrid area or you are near or around the fault line, get ready, get prepared, get a survival kit, first aid, batteries. I mean, you know, you've seen the movies. That should be a good idea. That's a good place to start. I mean, it hopefully don't happen, but this is dire. This is gonna happen. It's imminent. It's not can it happen, it's when. So even if you don't use your survival kits and your go bags and all these things anytime soon, you will end up having to use them if you live anywhere near this thing or around California's San Andreas fault. So please be worried. Also, I have other videos that you need to go look at. I have a couple of alignment dates that people need to be aware of with comets, big massive comets, actually near Earth objects that are anywhere between 1 to 3.5 kilometers in diameter are going to be swarming us this year. A lot of crazy things going on, and a very, very good reason for many of us to be aware of our surroundings right now and be right with God as well. Anyway, this is all I'm gonna do for now. I'm probably gonna turn right around and pull up my geology research and give that to you guys. I hope this video is not too long already. It'll probably take me an hour to upload. Anyway, like I said, please be safe, be aware of your surroundings, take heed to these warnings. I'm not trying to scare anybody, don't get me wrong. Like I said, we hope these things don't happen, but the fact is they will, and to be prepared. Anyway, so that's all I have for now. God bless and have a good day.